Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.
G'day, I'm Fletch and welcome to the show as we make our way across the United States of America for 2023. This is our last day in Ohio, so you're about to see some varied content here. It's thanks to Shannons in this week's Classic Restos on the road, stateside. On last week's episode, we featured an outstanding lady, Jane Park, and her son Murray found her 1964 300k Chrysler that she sold in 1982 and returned it back to her in 2022. Then it was time for the granddaughters, Christina with her Desoto hearse project starting to happen, and then Danielle with a beautiful 1957 Plymouth Belvedere starred on the show. This week, we will see if Mark from Shannon's 1959 Imperial 413 V8 actually turns over, because gallons of Marvel Mystery Oil has been inside now over 4 years. Remember this car on Classic Restos back then? What a classic. We'll check out his 1973 Survivor New Yorker that was bought here in 2018. Then the Mopar man himself, Murray Park, is going to take us for an exclusive walk around an old property of his to see exactly what is growing in the grass. Stay in your favourite couch as I serve you another USA edition of Classic Restos. Remember years ago, Mark from Shannons bought this incredible 1959 Imperial. It's got a 413 in there, but the engine has never turned over. It's been seized for many, many years. A long time ago, it was filled right to the brim with Marvel Mystery Oil. Now at this point on our return in 2023, that stuff's been in there just over 4 years. Will the engine turn over?
So I saw this 1959 Imperial in 2017. I just thought, we've got to have this car. It had been sitting since 1980, and it was obviously a much loved car. It still even had newspapers in the trunk or in the boot from 1971 or 1972, which is pretty interesting. It even had the old car ads in there, so I read through those. But the motor hadn't turned over all that time, so we tried to turn the engine over in, I think it was 2018, something like that. Filled it full of the Marvel Mystery Oil, came back the following year in 2019, and as try as we might, it still wouldn't turn over. So here we are back again 4 years later, and we're going to see, can we turn this motor over?
What a moment of truth. This engine, the big 413, has been seized up since around 1980. It's been full of Marvel Mystery Oil since around 2017. You can see a considerable amount of pressure has been put on this by Murray with the breaker bar. Did the engine turn over? Guess what? No, it didn't. Totally seized. It's buggered. So time now to move on to Mark's 1973 New Yorker.
So I remember that day when Fletch found his 74 Monaco. We had to cut the tree to get the car out because it had grown up through the front bumper. And just across from there at Murray's place, there was this 73 New Yorker Brougham. And I really like the look of the car because it reminded me of my 71 Imperial that I drove across America with, which had been Mindy's car, Murray's wife's car, years ago. And so anyway, I saw the car, I just thought, this looks really good. It's a 73 model, it's got the 440 engine. But what really sold me on it was the interior, that brocade interior, blue interior, electric windows, electric locks. Really, the car was really well equipped. And I also particularly liked the rear of the car, the styling. I just thought that looked particularly good. So Murray and I were able to make a deal, and I bought the car. So yeah, add it to the collection. So these are the two cars in storage in Ohio, and I'm really looking forward to the day that I can get them back to Australia. And the good thing is, I know that this one does turn over.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
When it comes to cars, there are some brands that will remain with us forever, no matter what. The Holden was always Australia's own car, held high in the hearts of many. Those lines, that chrome, the stories around them, and the people that owned them. From the classic through to the final, you can still trust in genuine Holden and AC Delco parts, available through the Holden Certified Service Network. Welcome back. Murray's Yard always has intrigued me over the years. Every year you visit, there's something different to see. It's been around 4 years since I've been here, so I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to put a mic on Murray. I'm going to follow him around. And I'll be honest with you at this point, I have not been on the other side of the fence. Let's just take a look and see what is happening in one of Murray's old yards.
Good morning, Fletch. I'm going to show you some of my collection. I hope you enjoy it. Excuse my weeds, but I got plenty of them this time of year. But this is kind of an interesting car. This is a 63 Chrysler New Yorker Salon. They only built these 2 years, 63 and 64. Came with a special interior and loaded with accessories. Half vinyl top, although the vinyl's gone off this one, but I think they only built under 400 of these 63s, not very many. This is a 78 Plymouth Fury 440 police package car. This came from Oregon, state of Oregon, up in the desert. It's got a really good body on it, but it's got engine troubles. I haven't ever had time to work on it like many of my projects. This is a 59 Imperial Crown, stainless steel roof. That was a project that somebody else started on and never got to finish, so here it sits waiting on me. And a 68 Chrysler 300 four-door hardtop. This also came from the same place in Oregon. Very rust-free car. Last tagged in 1978, so it's been off the road since it was 10 years old. And here's a real odd one, although it's kind of hard to see with all the foliage, is a 68 Chrysler Town & Country Stageway 8-door airport limousine. Here's some various hoods and deck lids from the 50s and 60s, and bumpers and other random piles of stuff. It's a 61 Chrysler Newport, good body, fresh rebuilt drivetrain. Another project I need to get onto one of these days. Factory air. You've noticed I got more projects than I'll ever get onto. But 68 Crown there. That was actually a local car sold new right here in town. But it's gotten pretty rusty. It was used up pretty well, so it's probably only good to help save others. And here's a 59 Crown four-door sedan. Don't have much of a story on this one. 72 Town & Country. Actually got this from the original owner, but they used her up pretty well. It's pretty rusty, but they were concerned about what was going to happen with it, and they wanted me to have it and keep it rather than have it end up in the demo derby or something else. So it came here years ago. They actually drove it right to me, and here it is. But I don't think it's one worth fixing. It's had a hard life, I believe. They pretty well used it up. Yeah, there's a sea of parts in a lot of places, you know. It's a lifetime of collecting, you know. Lifetime of collecting. That's a 64 Chrysler 300K, like the one we looked at the other day. That one unfortunately didn't live such a pampered life. Oh, there's a few more Imperials here. There's a 70 Le Baron 4-door hardtop. 74 Le Baron 4-door hardtop back there. 77 Cordoba with a T-top roof. 76 New Yorker. That was a great car. That was my wife's daily driver back in the 90s until a truck pulling a gooseneck trailer took her out. So and the one over the back there? That is a 66 Imperial Le Baron. All right, here's a 59 New Yorker sedan, and next to it a very rare 61 Desoto 2-door hardtop in pretty sad shape. 77 New Yorker. One of my everyday cars for a couple of years too. I drove that quite a bit till something went wrong with it and it got parked. So that is extremely low mileage. Was wrecked years ago. I forget the miles now, but I think it was under 50,000 miles. There's a 56 New Yorker, still housing its 354 Hemi.
That'd still run too.
Probably would, but yeah. One of those old Hemis, if it'll turn over, it'll run. It's a 70 Chrysler 300. 62 Newport convertible and a 73 Imperial. You making it all right, Fletch? All right. Oh, well, we got some more. There's a 67 Chrysler 300. 66 New Yorker 6-window sedan. Yeah, you don't see too many of those. Yeah, that one, I don't think there's any saving that one. 71 Polara Custom sedan. Another 67 300. 59 DeSoto Fire Sweep sedan. It could happen. It was from here in Ohio. I got that over around Akron, Ohio, many years ago. The 71 Imperial Le Baron. Well, this one was pretty neat. You can't hardly see much of it anymore, but it had the vinyl top they actually recalled. You still can see some of the design in it. They recalled these with the cars that had this top because they were coming apart right sitting in before they got shipped from the factory. And this is one that made it out of it. Years ago when I first saw this car, this top was really good. But years after that, when it came available and I bought it, it had gone to heck and was bad. So
you can also see the plug there.
Oh yeah, how they put the small window in.
Of the rear screen as well. Yeah.
Just screwed it in.
Yep.
And here we have a 66 300, 73 New Yorker sedan, and there's a 63 Imperial convertible there next to it. I don't know how well you can see back there. There's a blue one's a 72 Fury Grand Coupe. A 59 Dodge Custom Royal back there. It's 58 Imperial Custom, so it was the low line Imperial. It was a rough old car when I got it. I really don't know much background on this particular one. Even odd Imperial wise, had crank windows, which is something you don't see on too many Imperials.
Yeah, okay.
So it was a real entry level Imperial, if you can call an Imperial entry level. It still got the 392 Hemi and you know all that stuff, but it was just a base Imperial, I guess. The 62 Chrysler 300 2-door hardtop, and next to it there's a 59 Imperial. That's a Crown, so that was the middle line one.
Murray.
Yes, Fletch.
How do you feel when you look around and see these cars? Where's the emotion level?
Well, I'm sad I couldn't save them all, but I guess I did save them all because they're here and they're not going off the earth. But I don't know. I love them all, whether they're shiny or ugly. They still are what they are.
Like Dad, I've always been a Ford man. The Falcon Squire wagon was unloved in 1964, but turns heads today. The Americans call them woodies, but the panelling, it's just fiberglass and plastic. But it's a passion that Shannons understands, which is why my Fords are insured with Shannons. And now, so's the home.
call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
They may not be making the classic Holden anymore, but the legacy lives on. You can still have a Holden certified service using genuine Holden and AC Delco quality parts at over 180 centres across Australia. Go to holden.com.au to find your nearest centre. Book your Holden in, maintain the pride. And of course, if you own a classic or two, make sure they are insured with Shannons. Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote and a chat on 134646, and the Shannons Club awaits you. Why not sign up to become a member of Australia's largest automotive online hub? For more information, visit shannons.com.au.
A lot of times I'll walk through here and just look at these cars and just think about what they looked like when they were new, and somebody took, like this Imperial here, somebody was proud as heck the day they took delivery of this car, and it was a big deal. And you know, everything gets used up, weather gets to things, they rust, but it's not something that should just be thrown away. 68 Town and Country wagon.
What a beautiful wagon back in its day.
Yeah, those were a really nice styled wagon. Yep, all the family vacations. And this is a 73 Plymouth Fury 3 sedan. Nothing real special about it.
But even these base model cars, they still drove and they performed quite well.
Oh, definitely, yeah. They were good cars. If you keep them from rusting away, they last forever. And that's a very unfortunate old A-body there. That's a 73 Plymouth Scamp that is just falling apart rusty. I mean, just look at, this was originally a vinyl top car, and look what it's done to the roof.
So what do we have down here for fun, Murray? We've got a 383, a 400 or 440?
Oh, that would be a 400, Fletch. Over there is a very rare 59 New Yorker station wagon. The 6-passenger version, that one is. I forget the production figures, but it was in just a few hundred. That's a 56 New Yorker 4-door hardtop. So that's the first year Mopar did 4-door hardtops, you know, no post. And the windows are out of it, but the rear windows were really neat on these. They scissored down, they were 2-piece. All right, there's a 71 Imperial. Well, Fletch, there's another 62 300 2-door hardtop there. And right behind it's a 59 New Yorker 4-door hardtop, so a pillarless 4-door. And the other side of that's a 57 Desotos Fire Dome sedan. This one here, it's a 65 300 2-door hardtop. Yeah, I had another one that had been hit in the quarter, and originally when I bought this car, I was going to fix this car, but then I ended up using the quarter panel off of this to fix the other car. But at least it put one back on the road. And here right in front of us, another rare car. It's a 59 Chrysler 300E. Yep, 2 4s on the 413. Well, Fletch, I started collecting, heck, in the 70s. Started buying whole cars probably early 80s sometime. Just became a passion of mine. I didn't like seeing any of these cars go to waste or get thrown away, and I've done my best to preserve what I can. Gone through a lot of grief and spent a lot of money and a lot of time to do it, but it's been something I put my life into is preserving these old cars. I've amassed a lot of stuff, I guess. So, but you know, I know a lot of these cars aren't going to make it back on the road, but they're still here. They're still preserved for people to see. They all don't have to be shiny and beautiful. You know, they are what they are. Be great to have them all restored and lovely, but you and me both know what it costs to restore a car, so that's just not feasible. I like to preserve the heritage of these cars. I know a lot about them. I know every one of these cars. I know that sounds strange, but I can tell you a pretty good story about every one of them. I know, you know, the weather does its toll on them and all that, but they're still preserved. They're still here to have a story, rather than being gone like so many before them were. I realize we can't save them all, and they shouldn't have all been saved because they'd be everywhere then, and that's not what it's about either. But, you know, after 40 or 50 years, none of these cars are commonplace anymore, no matter where you live or where you travel, and they're all of interest, to me at least. Oh yes, when my daughter was talking with you about the 57 Belvedere that she likes, she did a little research on production and find that there was over 800,000 57 Plymouths built. That's a lot of cars for a 1 year. I mean, that was, I think, a record year for Plymouth. But think about it. How often do you see a 57 Plymouth today? So out of those 800,000 cars, I mean, I don't know numbers now, but if there's 10,000 57 Plymouths in the whole world, I would be surprised. So you figure in 1957, 58, 59, everywhere you went, there was a 57 Plymouth then. And now, you're lucky to ever see one anywhere. So that's what I'm talking about, preservation. I mean, whether they're sitting under a tree or shined up in a garage, as long as they're still here. So even though the weather takes its toll on the paint and stuff, a lot of the chrome, it survives amazingly well. Even being out in the weather, you know, stainless steel chrome, or you know, the stainless steel trim, and even some of the pot metal chrome that's chromed, really holds up well. And if you took a time and actually shined some of these up, they look amazingly great. So Fletch has been coming to visit for years.
A real car guy.
He tells me that this is one of his favorite places to visit, and for a guy that travels all over, that's saying something. I always enjoy when he comes to visit, and he has a great time. As well as people, I get people from all over, and it makes me feel good about what I've done. And I've been happy today to be able to share a little bit of it with you. I hope you enjoyed watching.
This place has an energy. It's as though you can pick up on the souls that once owned these such prided vehicles, thundering down the highways and the byways of the United States. Proud, excited people buying these cars when vehicles like these made a statement. A time when your success was often measured by the car that you drove. Today, the new cars just blend in. The owners that are no longer with us, I wonder how they would feel knowing that their once new car is now in retirement here. The places these vehicles went, the things they saw, the conversations that were inside, good and bad, the kids that were dropped to school in Dad's new fancy car, the business trips that some may have endured, and Sunday lunch and picnics with family and friends. Imagine the history here. Then after that, their new life with multiple owners in some cases. So more stories kept on evolving. This is mechanical preservation. What an interesting episode, featuring just some of Mark's 1959 Imperial, his 1973 New Yorker, and the timeless preservation of Murray's Mopars in the woods. I love returning here. I hope you enjoyed it. Now on next week's show, there's more US content coming your way as Mark from Shannons and myself continue to cross the United States of America for 2023. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch. Thanks for watching.
You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.